Okay. Alright, I think I'm ready. Okay. If I press the button, I can't take it back. Hello. Just kidding, I can take it back. That's the wrong one! I take it back. Hello. My hair is so blonde that I look bald. But bald is beautiful, and I don't mind it. And I got a new jumper from Next, which it was so ridiculously difficult to find jumpers at this time of year for some reason. Yeah, it's like bluish. It looks bluer IRL, I think, than it does on here. Let me say thank you. Thank you very much, Stu, for 4 months. Tilleron, 37 months. Frankenfurter, 17 months. Grumpy Kitten, a whole year. Darreneth, thanks for gifting 5 subs. Tim or Tom, thanks for the 36 months. Fav, 30 months. What the heck? Hi, Sinvicta! Melissa, thanks very much for the 1 year. Isaac, 43 months. Holy shit. Razor Cake, thanks for the 19 months. And Laboto, thanks for the 43 months as well. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oil spill looking jumper. My boopy. My boopy! Thank you for the raid, Boof. I hope you had fun with your contraband simulator or something like that. Hello, Alderman. Sasa, this sub! Thank you, Lord Feline. 3 months. Oil spill? Oh, it is a retro candy necklace. Officer Cock, thank you very much. 31 months. Let's see which random one Boof gets. Is she gonna get a kitty cat one? Ah, the evil is contained. The evil is contained.
I wish you well.
I wish you well. In hell.
I really
Burn in hell.
let's
Stop! Stop!
Whoa,
What
Kyle.
is this about
Thanks
the
for being so
alpaca's fucking-
tubular and gifting 5 subs.
I'm
You
glad brought it up,
absolute
'cause I've been dying to talk about
wombat
this fucking
is a
hot
good one, right?
Bub's business.
Thank you, Scott, for the 3 months. Tony, thanks for tier 2 and 30 months. Thank you very much. Boof has been contained. Her evil will not prevail or persist. Oh my gosh, it's a Wufflove. Boof, did you get new ones? I'm gonna go to my Boof emotes. Okay. Ooh, some Wuffloves. A comfy Wufflove, a what Wufflove, a wink Wufflove, worry, angry. I love them. I woof love them. I gotta pick one in order to clear it. I don't know. You made some really shit ones. No, I like them. They're great. They're great. They're excellent. We're doing an ad tonight. It's for a free video game. So if you want to play it, it is free. Stu. Thank you so much for the 30 months. A free video game. A free video game. Thank you so much, Stu. Thank you. In this economy, a free one. This is a very cool kart riding game called Kart Rider Drift. We're gonna play it in just a bit. It's very kawaii. There are lots of cute characters in it, and it will be fun. And I've never played a kart game before, so I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. First, I want to tell you about the debacle that was my airport experience. Before we move on. Hello, Ale. So, the whole time I've been here, and even around Christmas, I'd been waiting for even an ounce of snow. I was wishing for it. I was wishing for some snow, and I thought, you know what? Maybe around Christmas, even if... Because in Bristol, when it snows, it just snows a little bit, and then it melts, like, right away. So I waited, and 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 nothing happened. And then I was supposed to leave last Wednesday to go back to America. My flight was leaving at 6 a.m., so I got up at 3:30 in the morning so that I could be at the airport by 4:30 in the morning so that I could leave at 6 on the plane. Which is a horrible hell time. I got absolutely no sleep at all because I got in bed at like 9, could not fall asleep, and then I checked the clock like every hour and did that horrible thing of, if I fall asleep now, I will get 4 hours of sleep. If I fall asleep now, I will get 3 hours of sleep. If I fall asleep now, I will get 2 hours of sleep. I think I slept for about 2 hours. Sleep maths. Yeah. So that was what happened for that, you know, for the sleepy times. And I got up, I gathered all my stuff, it was pretty much ready to go. I walked out the door, and it was basically like a snowstorm. The snow was absolutely chucking it down. It was like, it was just so much, and it was all over everything, of course. And I was wearing leggings. I was wearing my airport clothes, which is leggings, a t-shirt, a hoodie, and then trainers or tennis shoes or whatever, with just fuzzy socks. So I was fucking cold. I don't know how many centimeters it was. I was cute, but I was absolutely a popsicle. And so I had to push my suitcase through the snow, and I was slipping a little bit, and I had 2 sets of stairs to go down as well to get to my Uber. It looked like a lot of snow. And then I got in the Uber, I had snow all in my hair, all over my clothes, so I was already kind of cold. And then I get in the Uber, he chats to me a little bit, I'm so sleepy. And then we get to the airport, and he drops me off in the drop-off area, and I pushed my suitcase a little bit through the snow into the airport. Basically, nobody else was there, so I checked in. No one was there for KLM, which was the flight I was taking, was KLM. I checked in. I got my bag checked, because I only had one bag, because I am leaving some things here so that hopefully I'm like hedging my bets, because when I go home, I don't need all the same clothes. So I just leave some here in storage. And so my suitcase was my suitcase with my carry-on inside, and then all of my stuff that I absolutely needed to go with me. And then I checked that bag. I went through security. Both of my bags got randomly selected or whatever. So they peeked through my bags and then gave them to me. And then I walked to the boots or whatever is inside. And because all I had was my backpack. And so they checked my backpack. And then I also put my, like, Switch and iPad, and they checked all of those things. So I went to the boots or whatever is inside, and I got a bottle of water, and our gate was already announced which gate it was going to be, so I walked to that gate, and there were, like, barely any lights on. People were already drinking at the bars inside of the airport. And then I got to the gate, and the door was locked, because at Bristol Airport, it's super fucking small. Lewis said it was not meant to be an airport. And so the doors were locked to go downstairs to the gate, and the elevator to go down, and then if you went down, the gate was also locked. I don't know what it was meant to be. I'd have to look at his messages, what he said to me about it. And so then I was like, okay, the doors are locked, our gate's announced, and it was like 5 a.m. The flight's supposed to leave at 6, which means I'm supposed to be boarding the plane around 5:30, and it's 5, and there's no information at all. The snow is chucking it down outside. I walked through the hallway to go to the bathroom, and the lights turned on as I walked through it because no one was there. And then I waited by the elevator to go down to the gate where there were 3 other people. And that was it. 2 of them were Dutch, and then one of them was American, I think. And so I was like, do you guys know what's going on? And they're like, no. We don't. And I kept checking the KLM app, and it was like, everything's on time. Everything's on time. Everything's on time. I tried to call them. Their customer service was not open yet. And so I waited, and then I waited until about 5:40 when we were supposed to start boarding at 5:30. Nothing was happening at all. There was no information. And then it said our flight went yellow, and it said delayed 7 a.m. So it was delayed by an hour. And I was like, my layover between Amsterdam and my flight to Atlanta was only around an hour, so I was already going to miss that one. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know about this one, Chief. So I kept trying to call KLM. Their customer service was not open yet. And I was like, okay, I will give it a little bit longer. So I waited until about 6 a.m. or so. I can't remember what time it was. Maybe mods remember because I was messaging at that time. And it's all of the flights on the screen went yellow or red. And they all said more information at 8 a.m., which was 2 hours away because it was 6 a.m. And I was like, okay, I'm not waiting any longer, because when I had a misconnection when I came back from Paris, I had to stay overnight in the airport in Chicago, and I didn't want to do that again. So I was like, you know what? It's snowing today, and it's probably not going to snow again. I know I can leave reliably and have a place to stay and be okay. And I'll argue with them if I have to, the airlines, because I'm not going to wait here, miss all of my connections, and have to stay overnight in an airport, because that sucks. And so I walked to the front of the very small airport. It was absolutely so packed. It was packed everywhere. You could barely move. So I go downstairs and I go to talk to the security desk, and there's other people asking, can we leave? And they're saying no one is allowed to leave. And I'm like, bro, there's no way that I'm staying at this airport with no sleep when I'm already sure I'm going to leave. They're like, no one's allowed to leave. And we're like, why not? And they said, you're not allowed to leave until your flight is officially canceled. And I was like, and they're like, if you absolutely have to leave, go to security and ask them to escort you out of the building. And so I was like, all right, guess that's what I'm doing. So I went over to security, and I just went up to a random person in security, and I was like, can I be escorted out of the airport, please? And they were like, oh, you need to go back to gate 2 and ask them. So I went back to exactly where I came from, and I said, security's not letting us out. So who do I have to, like, what do I need to do? And they're like, what's your flight? Are you on EasyJet? So all of the people that were absolutely fucked were EasyJet customers. Because EasyJet was either canceled, or if you were on EasyJet, you weren't allowed to leave the airport for some reason until they canceled it, because EasyJet is shit anyways. So I was like, I'm KLM. I left at 7 a.m. Okay. I'm like, I'm KLM. So they're like, go talk to that lady over there. There's one singular old woman stood in front of gate number 2 talking to someone else, and she's wearing an airport jacket. So I go over to her and I'm like, hi, I want to leave. I'm on KLM. And she's like, okay, wait here and let me see if anyone else is leaving. So at gate 2, which is not where KLM is, it's upstairs, she goes, anyone else for KLM that wants to leave? Of course, no one down there is KLM, so no one was saying yes. She walked around a bit, she kept asking, and then she went away for a little bit and came back, and she's like, okay, looks like it's just you. And I was like, okay. I don't know why they didn't lie, Lorenial, I don't know why. And so me and this old lady walk out of the airport by way of the gate for the plane at gate 2. We walk out onto the airport tarmac in the snow. We walk around the outside of the airport. And then we walk into the place where they check your passport, customs or whatever. And he looks at my passport. He goes, okay. Like, I don't know what he's meant to do. He just looks at it. And then I walk out with the old lady, and she goes, wait, do you have any bags checked? And I was like, yes, one bag. And she goes, oh. And I'm like, so I was like, if I have to come back later and get it, I will. I can do that. If it's a few hours from now, I'll just come back and get it. Because basically I was like, bro, it's fucking snowing to hell and I want to go to sleep. I want to go to sleep. So she's like, it's okay. So she calls the baggage people. They don't answer. She calls them again. They don't answer. She calls this other area of the airport. They answer. She's like, can you put me through to baggage? I would love to teleport. I would love to. So then she finally gets a hold of baggage and she's like, hi, I have this customer here. She gives them my name. She gives them my bag number and a description of my bag, which my bag is very individual on purpose. It is a hard shell, like dark reddish pink, and it has stickers all over it. And so it's reddish pink, yeah. And so she's like, she describes it to them and they say something like, I think they said the bags were not on any of the planes yet. So the bags were just waiting. I think they were waiting in the snow because when I got my bag back, the inside of it was wet. So she's like, I'll go get it. So the old lady leaves me in empty baggage claim where there's no other people. It was like an alternate reality. She goes outside. She's out there for a few minutes, and then I see her come back in, and I don't see her with my bag, but there were seats, and then she comes around the corner and she has my bag, and I was like, thank Christ. Hey, Eddie. So she found my bag, and she's like, here you go. And then so what happened after that was, I told her, I was like, hey, do you want me to buy you a coffee or anything? Or can I get you like a juice or anything? Can I get you anything? And she's like, no, it's okay. I'm just working. And then she said something like, we were leaving and she said bye to someone. And I was like, oh, are you the boss? And she's like, no. And I was like, you should be the boss. And she was laughing. So then I walk out. And then there's the exit. And now, for Bristol Airport, you go through the exit of the airport or the entrance or whatever, the same thing. And then you either get your car from right outside at Long Term. Boof bought a shirt! Cute! Doxed! Boopy, thank you! And so right outside the door is long-term parking. But if you want to get picked up by an Uber, you have to walk farther. So before I leave the airport, I call an Uber. It's 4 minutes away. I walk out the door and I'm like, all right, let me walk to the short-term parking. It's still chucking it down snow. I'm pushing my carry-on suitcase, which is still pretty heavy. So I'm pushing it. It's windy. It's snowing. There's hills. I'm pushing it in my trainers. And I'm just like, I'm slipping, I'm sliding. And then I couldn't tell where I was meant to be picked up at because usually things look different, but everything was covered in snow, so everything was white. And I couldn't tell where I was. So I walked down this hill, and then I got to the bottom, and the sign was the wrong sign, so I had to walk back. I had to push my suitcase back up the hill, slipping in the snow. And then I went to the stairs for the short-term area, and I walked down. I carried my suitcase down the stairs, slipping and sliding. And then I get to the bottom of the stairs, and the sign says short-term parking that way still. So I carried my suitcase back up the stairs, and it's snowing, and there's snow everywhere, and I'm sliding on the stairs, and it's icy. And then I get to the top, and I look farther down in the direction it says to go, and there's nothing. So I'm like, oh, it meant first you go straight and then you go to the right. So I had to go back down the stairs again with my suitcase in the snow, and I'm pushing it across the street. There's water and dirt and mud everywhere. There's like a car waiting for me to go. I'm like, I look so stupid because I'm like bent over, like pushing the suitcase. I'm like hunched over, pushing the suitcase in the wind and the snow like a grandpa. Back in my day, I had to push my suitcase across the zebra crossing while the people laughed at me, and it was windy and there was snow. So I just pushed it across, and then finally I got to the waiting area for the Uber to be there, and I had to wait like a minute or so. It was not that bad, but my feet were soaked from pushing through the snow, and then I'm only wearing a hoodie and it's snowing out, so I was freezing. And then I got into the car, and luckily it was not super far drive, but holy shit. Captain Ben, thanks for the 27 months.
But I feel so honored to be a part of this community you have gathered
Thank
together here less than 3.
So I finally got into the Uber, and then I got back, and I just went straight to sleep, and I slept in, and I just was like, and then I woke up and I was like, I've got to call the airline. And I was not sure if they were going to let me change my flight or not, because ever since COVID, the airlines just kind of let you do whatever you want. Did I get to enjoy the snow? No, I slept, and then when I woke up, it was still snowing, but it was in Bristol, it just turns to water, really. But I watched the snow falling down for the rest of the day, so that was really super, super nice. Yeah. It melted so fast, it was really gone. And so I called on the phone, and I was pretty sure they were going to be like, yeah, you're out of luck and you have to pay for a new flight, which was going to be so much money. But ever since COVID, I feel like I just changed my flight whenever I want, and it's so super easy. So I called them because it wouldn't let me do it online, because technically I think I just left the airport and they didn't even like record any of that information. Like, no one took down my info, the flight didn't know. So I'm pretty sure on my app, it still thought I was going. Like, it was like, your next flight to Atlanta is at this time. Because by the time I woke up at like around 1 p.m. and my flight that was scheduled for 6 a.m. left at 12:15. So it was over 6 hours of a delay. It was massively delayed, Ref. Over 6 hours. So I would have been screwed. I would have been so screwed for my connecting flights. So I woke up, I called them. I was like, hey, like, I went to the airport, but it was broken because it was snowing and they didn't know what to do. can I have a new flight? And they were like, okay. They're like, okay, you can have a new flight. They just let me do it. They just let me.
Nearly 2 years.
They just let me. Shark Dog, almost 2 years. Thank you so much. So they just let me have a new flight. They're like, when do you want to leave? And I was like, when's your next flight that's not at 6 a.m.? So I got a new flight for this coming Tuesday that's not at 6 a.m. It's later, so I will be all right. I will be all right. And I don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. I can wake up later, so I'll be okay. But just like, I just wish that Bristol Airport had been courteous, courteous enough to be like, yeah, we're screwed. All of the flights are going to be delayed, because then I would have just not gone to the airport. But instead, I had to not go back to sleep. I had to just rough it, I guess. I had to just rough it. So yeah, they were screwed. It was funny. It was what it was. I know, airports and airlines have no communication between the two. Also, the fact that the KLM customer service, I was calling them up until 7 a.m. and their customer service was not open, which I think is really strange, especially because Amsterdam is an hour in the future. So it would have been 8 a.m. by them, which I think usually most flights have like 24-hour customer service. But the snow was nice. It was very beautiful. Ryanair is not open till 10 a.m. What the heck? But it was cool. The snow was cool. It's not that bad that I had to stay a little bit longer. I ended up doing a few more things recording-wise that were nice. So not bad. But yeah, that was my big thing. Oh, there's a 5 kilometers seaweed thing happening. I don't even know if it's nice enough to go to the beach right now anyways. Yeah, it all worked out, but it was absolutely just a nightmare. The pushing my suitcase through the snow was just like, I was laughing because I was like, this is just so silly. This is so silly.